Hey everyone, Jordan here with MeatEater, and a topic that comes up a lot is how to choose your clothing system for hunting, how to build a layering system. The important thing to think about with a layering system and what you're trying to do, the goal is all about temperature regulation and really managing your sweat. So when we're out hunting, we're usually very active when you're hiking, but we're also very static when we're sitting and glassing. And we need a system that's going to work for both of those things. So by having multiple layers, each layer will have its own set of properties and its own things that it's good at. And when we stack those on top of each other, we can really build a really efficient system that can get you through any season that you're looking at. I like to break a layering system out in 4 categories. So the first category is going to be your base layer or your next to skin layer. The next layer will be a mid layer, have a little bit of warmth value to it, but you can also be active in it. The next layer, the third category, will be your insulation layer. This is going to be your puffy jacket and pants. And then the fourth is going to be your outer shell, which is going to be your rain gear to protect your insulation from the elements and also be very windproof. So the system that I'm going to go through is what I have narrowed down over the last number of years being in the field to be my staple go-to pieces. If I could only have 8 pieces in my closet, these are the 8 that they would be. So the first category is our base layer or next to skin layer. It's really important that you stay away from cotton, especially for your base layer, but really for your whole layering system. Cotton has pretty terrible qualities when it gets wet. I really like a lightweight, a thin merino shirt. This is the Wick from First Light. It's 150 gram arrow wool, and what arrow wool is First Light added some nylon, a synthetic material, into the merino wool to give the garment a little more durability, but you still retain all the properties that wool has. So naturally, wool is very odor resistant, which is nice for long trips. When it gets wet, it still has a warmth value, which is really nice, and it is also very quiet. Next, for the bottoms, we'll go right along with the top. These are the Wick bottoms. A lot of times in the earlier seasons when it's warmer, I won't even put these on underneath my pants. My pants are enough, but in the later season, I really like to put these on, especially when it's cool in the mornings and you want a little extra insulation. Then when it warms up in the afternoons, the zipper actually zips all the way off and you don't have to take your boots off. You can unzip these and just have your regular pants on. Moving on to the second category, which is our mid layer or our light insulation layer. Typically this is going to be a fleece. In my case, it's the Klamath hoodie that is a grid fleece. This is a super comfortable piece. I have the one with the hood. Next up for a mid layer is the pant that you're going to choose to wear. The pant that I chose is just an all-around durable workhorse. This is the Corget Foundry pant from First Light. It was released in 2021. Some features of it: it is a nylon material with a 4-way stretch, so it is extremely durable. It's more of like a mid-weight pant, so you can get by in the earlier seasons as well as layering underneath of it. You can get into the later seasons. Moving on to our third category, this is going to be your heavier insulation layer. This is going to be a puffy jacket and puffy pants. So this is going to be some kind of an insulated material. In this case, the insulation used is synthetic. The other option you will see is a down, like a goose down. If you're only going to have one, I would recommend going with a synthetic, as when it gets wet, it does retain some insulating properties, whereas a goose down, if it were to get wet, it's going to be flat, no loft, and you're not going to have any heat retaining values. So a synthetic insulation is going to be a little bit more forgiving for you. And to match the jacket, we have the pants here. So these will be your heavier insulating pieces. I don't always take the pants with me. If it's earlier season, it's really warm, I might just leave them in the vehicle or leave them at home. But the puffy jacket always goes with me. And lastly, our fourth category is going to be our rain gear, the outer shell that protects your insulating layers from the elements outside. Not only is it good for when you have precipitation like rain or snow, and then they're also very windproof. So even if there's no precipitation, if it's just cold and really windy, you can put these on over the top of your puffy insulation, and it is really going to help cut the wind. So a lightweight set of rain gear that is really packable is going to be sufficient enough for the lower 48. If you're going to be in a really wet environment and you expect a lot of precipitation where you're basically wearing your rain gear every day, I would go ahead and bump up to a heavier weight, something like the First Light Seek jacket and pants, and they're just going to be thicker, more durable, and built for precipitation every day. And they're just going to be a little bit better at that than the lightweight rain gear is. Wrapping things up, remember that this might be an evolving process. It's going to take a lot of trial and error of being in the field and figuring out what pieces you like and which system is going to work better for you and your environment. So remember the 4 categories when you're building your layering system, and just get out in the field and hunt hard.